first example, we have 7x plus 3 equals 38. Now, in this equation, we look and our goal is to manipulate the equation to get the x by itself. And so we look at anything that is attached to the x, and we want to mathematically move it over to the right-hand side. So if I look at this positive 3 right here, I will like to add what to the positive 3 to move it over to the right? I'm going to take its inverse operation. And so the inverse operation is a negative 3. So I'm going to move the negative 3, and what I do on one side of the equation or the left side of the equation, I need to do to the right side of the equation. So a positive 3 minus 3 is 0. And then 38 minus 3 would be 35. I'm going to go ahead and bring down my 7x. Now I have 7x equals 35. The x is still not by itself, so I need to see how is the 7 attached. Well, the 7 is attached by 7 times x. And with the 7 times x, the inverse operation is division. So I'm going to divide both sides by 7. Right there. Now 7 divided by 7 is 1, which leaves me x by itself with 1x equals, and then I look at 35 divided by 7 is 5. Now, the main thing that I want to look for is how do I check my work? And so over to my right-hand side, I'm going to check to make sure that everything is right on track. So I take my 7, open parentheses where my variable x and where I'm going to plug in the 5, plus 3 equals 38. When I plug in the 5, I see that 7 times 5 is 35, plus 3 equals 38. 35 plus 3, 38 equals 38. Therefore, I know that my equation is correct. In our example for today, we have a negative 30 equals 13x minus 4. Now this equation might look unusual because we're used to having the variable on the left-hand side, and this time it's on the right-hand side. Really, it's not that big of a deal, so don't freak out about this because math is simple. Now, if we look at our first equation, we have to isolate our variable, and this is our main objective, is to get the x by itself. But first, before we do that, we have to get everything that's attached to that x moved over to the left-hand side. And so if I look at this negative 4, which is attached to this x, how I can move the 4 over to the other side is to add positive 4, or its inverse operation. And so we have negative 4 plus 4 gives us 0. And so that cancels out. But what we do on one side, we have to do on the other side. So here we're going to add positive 4 to the negative 30. When we go ahead and make sure our equal signs are in line with each other, I'm going to go ahead and bring down the 13x. And then negative 30 plus 4 gives us a negative 26. The next step we need to see is the 13 is attached to the x. How is it attached? Well, it's with multiplication. So the inverse operation of multiplication is division. And so we're going to go ahead and divide both sides by 13. Now 13 divided by 13 is x. And negative 26, and this is a positive 13, so a negative and a positive gives me a negative answer, and 26 divided by 13 is going to equal 2. So the correct answer, our answer is x equals a negative 2. Now we can move this into standard form and flip it around, and so we can have x equals a negative 2. Now, I'm going to go ahead and do this problem a different way. I'm going to rewrite the problem negative 30 equals 13x minus 4. And before I get started, I could go ahead and take this entire expression on the right-hand side and just move it over to the left-hand side and take this constant of negative 30 and move it over to the right-hand side. So let's go show that we're going to move it over, and we have to make sure when we rewrite the equation that we take every sign along with us. So we'll have 13x minus 4 equals a negative 30. So 13x minus 4 equals a negative 30. Now this is a problem that we're used to seeing. All of our variables are on the left, and then we have to move anything that's attached. So this negative 4 is attached. So I'm going to go ahead and add its inverse, which is a positive 4, to both sides. This cancels out. We're going to bring our 13x down. Try to keep our equal signs in line with each other. And now this 4, I should have moved it over in the ones place. So this is negative 30 plus 4, which gives us a negative 26. We're going to go ahead and divide by our coefficient, which is the 13. It's attached to the x by a multiplication. So the inverse is going to divide both sides by 13. 13 divided by 13 gives me x by itself. And negative 26 divided by 13. Remember, this is a positive 13, so a negative and a positive is a negative. 26 divided by 13 is 2. So we do get the same number. And as you get more experience, it doesn't matter what side the x value is on. So just keep on working at it. Let's go ahead and check our answers.